Hey guys, in this video we are going to be talking about interpreting your food cravings. This information is from the book Life-Changing Foods by the Medical Medium, Anthony Williams. So many of us get food cravings and we always wonder why. And when we do get a craving, we reach for M&Ms, some chocolates, coffee, junk food, basically. And so by learning to actually understand where the craving comes from and what our body's actually telling us, then we can actually make a conscious choice to help our bodies in the best way possible. And that is so important for us. So without further ado, let's read about interpreting our food cravings. I wish I could tell you that cravings are always a message from your body about what food you need the most in the moment. Unfortunately, that's not always the case. Our minds and bodies have been conditioned by years of advertisements, misinformation, social eating situations, and less than healthy snacks and meals, so that we lose touch with how to truly feed ourselves. Usually, cravings have much more to do with what's going on emotionally at a given point in time than what would be beneficial for us to eat. Sometimes, they're not so much telling us what you need as what you want. As I said earlier, eating for your emotions is actually okay. It's just that you have to break free from the cravings trap and first learn with your head what will really help your heart, which is in part 2 of this book. So if you guys want to learn more about this type of things, well, just let me know. Comment below. Cravings aren't as straightforward as they seem. They have their own language, and we have to learn how to interpret them. Say you're feeling underappreciated at work. All morning you've been waiting to hear whether you were picked for a project you think you'd be perfect for. At 11 a.m., the email arrives with the list of those assigned to the task, and your name isn't on it. By the time lunch rolls around, you're craving a bacon cheeseburger. You tell yourself you better go out and get just that because your body must be telling you that you need the iron for strength. In that situation, a bacon cheeseburger is not going to make anything better. Rather, the high fat content is likely to make you sluggish all afternoon, slowing down your brain so that work seems even more depressing in the wake of the morning's letdown. It's important to look at the craving beneath the craving. What were you really looking for in that meal? The feeling of comfort and pride you used to get from going out for bacon cheeseburger with your parents when you'd gotten a good report card? The food that would truly help in this situation is going to sound surprising, maybe even laughable. Grapes. Believe me, I know that in the face of rejection, the idea of popping a few grapes in your mouth to soothe your wounds may seem a little dinky. That's only because we haven't been conditioned to see the fruit's true value. Again and again in the middle of this book, you'll read about foods that have been taken for granted, and grapes are just one example. Grapes actually contain micronutrients that are critical to emotional support when we're dealing with disappointment. They also hold divine information to help us forge a new path and create better opportunities for ourselves. What's more, the bioavailable fructose and glucose in grapes is amazing for the brain. Our brains thrive on natural sugar, so grapes serve as a pick-me-up rather than a depressant, which most standard comfort foods do. If instead of a bacon cheeseburger, you were to opt for grapes with a fig and goat cheese for lunch on that tough day, you would be giving your mind and body amazing resources to cope. Rather than feeling traumatized by not being selected for the project, you would have a much better shot at finding the silver lining. Think about it. When you've experienced a tough turn of events, is comfort all you really want? Maybe it's more like validation and solace, as well as the wherewithal to handle the situation with grace and to transform it into something new and better. The Holy Four help us do that. I've seen it time and time again when someone adds more of these life-changing foods to his or her diet and starts to use them as tools for emotional needs. What sugar cravings really mean. Which brings me back to sugar. A yearning for sweets is one of the most common cravings. First thing in the morning during an afternoon slump or after upsetting news, we often reach for a pastry filled with cream and sugar, a candy bar, or pizza. In this case, the craving is communicating something specific biologically. Your brain wants sugar. This may sound like a bad thing because we're trained to think of sugar as bad. Not so. Like I said, natural unadulterated sugar from whole plant foods is key for brain function because the glucose cools the engine of the brain and prevents brain tissue from scarring when you experience stress or trauma. A sugar craving is your brain telling you that it's taxed and needs some support. We just have to make sure that it's natural, unadulterated sugar from whole plant foods that we reach for when we have our sugar cravings, rather than pastries, candy, or pizza. Which reminds me, I know that pizza may not seem like a high sugar food. However, with all that dairy and tomato sauce that's often sweetened with cane sugar or high fructose cane syrup, plus the highly refined flour used for the crust, pizza's sugar content is through the roof. That's right, a dairy craving is usually a sugar craving because the lactose, which is sugar, in dairy is quite high. The problem is dairy is often high in hidden fat, and the fat-sugar combo can be a 1-2 punch for your insulin regulating body mechanisms. True brain foods like dates, figs, melons, grapes, citrus, raw honey, and smoothies with coconut water will give your body what it's really asking for when you feel the need for a sugar fix. Okay, a need for caffeine. Those brain foods are also fantastic alternatives to caffeine. When people are trying to cut back on caffeine addictions, they often sub in caffeine-free soft drinks for energy drinks and caffeinated soda. While of course that's a great step, it only helps by replacing the experience of drinking a sweet, icy cold can or a bottle of your old favorite. It doesn't help in the energy department. If you relied on these beverages for the energy boost, then fresh juicy fruits will give you what you crave. Again, it's all about the bioavailable glucose plus all other amazing nutrients to wake up your brain. If you're sensitive to changes in your blood sugar levels, then eating celery sticks, cucumber slices, or leafy greens along with your fruit or just making a green smoothie will help you avoid those highs and lows. Okay, so I hope that this information helped you understand a little bit more about your cravings. I am so happy that I learned this because now I am more than happy to grab fruit whenever I can, as opposed to like before when you're just like, oh, let me just eat a fruit. Now I know what fruit is doing for me. I know that it's feeding my brain. It's actually helping me so much, and I am so happy and so grateful for the fruit that I eat every day. I actually eat so much more wild blueberries, which I will definitely explain about in future videos. And so I really hope that this made a difference in your life. My purpose is to enlighten you and educate you and give you more knowledge about everyday things that we can just become more aware of. And this will actually inspire you to make that dietary change that you so desperately need and want. So I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!